Namaste and welcome to this 30-minute little practice targeting the lower back area of the body. So we're going to be getting into some back bends, some forward folds, some twists, all of my favorite postures to sort of open up that region of the body and make it feel good. But everyone's lower back is going to have different issues going on, and each of these postures isn't necessarily going to be the best thing for it. Without seeing a doctor or a specialist, you're not really going to know if a back bend is the thing that you need or a forward fold is more the thing that you need. So really let intuition guide your practice today. Anything that comes out of my mouth is merely a suggestion. So just pay attention to the lower back. Keep it in the forefront of your mind. Be sensitive to it. Be conservative with it. And we'll get a little bit of movement going through that area. So pay close attention to it. I really appreciate each and every subscription to this channel. It lets me know that you're enjoying it, so thank you so much. Hey, we're going to be starting lying down on the back. Maybe grab some pillows, block if you've got it, bolster if you've got it, and let's get going from there. So starting in supported bridge, bend your knees, feet on the ground, lift the hips. Either take your bolster, block, or pillow and take it underneath your tailbone or your butt and set it up whatever height feels appropriate for your body, and then extending the legs maybe out in front of you to bring some more intensity into it. And really just settling into stillness here, so allowing the body to sink and the whole body to drape over the prop, over the block or the pillow. And just starting to feel into the body. Obviously noticing the sensations through the lower back and through the pelvis, through the belly, through the front of the hips. And then spread your attention a little bit more broadly through the body and just become aware of whatever else is going on. Start to notice the state of your energy, what kind of mood you're in, state of your mind, and doing it in such a way that there's no reaction or action needed. Just awareness for now, just knowledge of your own body in this moment. Really just beginning to absorb your attention into your body. Starting to become nurturing towards it, taking on an attitude of being nurturing towards your body. And with that sort of in the forefront of the mind, start to deepen your breath. Start to breathe a little bit more fully down to the belly space. Start to breathe out just a little bit more slowly, gently. Starting to expand your breath. As you breathe in, there's a swelling of the belly space. As you breathe out, it starts to descend towards the spine, nice and gently and slowly. And see if you can start to integrate a 6-second count into your breath. Breathe in for 6 seconds, breathe out for 6 seconds. Find that kind of pacing of the breath, 6 in, 6 out. But maintain your awareness right at the belly button. Really feeling into the sensations of the breath as you're expanding and contracting. And hopefully that awareness of the breath allows it to become just a little bit more smoother. So as you watch the belly button rise and fall, try to make it go as smoothly and delicately as possible. We'll just take a couple more rounds here. 6 in, 6 out. After the next round, maintain the pace of the breath, but drop the count. Just take 1 or 2 more rounds. We'll continue to utilize the breath as the main way that we affect positive shift and change within each and every posture, allowing for a deeper sense of release in the body via the softening of the nervous system. If your legs are straight, please put a bend in your knees. Gently lift the hips, get rid of the block or whatever else is underneath your hips, gently off to the side. Lower the hips down. You might stay still for a second. You might at some point want to drop the knees from side to side a couple of times. Just a little bit of gentle movement to allow the lower back to settle. And then the next time the knees come up through center, take the feet about as wide as the mat. And now drop the knees over to the left. Place your left ankle up on top of the right knee or the right thigh and draw the legs down towards the ground here. You might bring the arms out to more of a T shape. Not terribly long here, just 2 or 3 more breaths. Relaxing completely through the belly space. And then releasing the ankle, keep the feet as wide as the mat, drop the knees to the other side. And right ankle up on top of the left knee, just start to draw it down a little there. A couple of deep breaths here more. And releasing the ankle. Go ahead and catch happy baby. So draw the knees somewhat up in towards the chest. Go ahead and maybe just hug the knees if you want for a moment. If happy baby's available, take the outer blades of the feet, have a little wriggle and a kick of the legs one at a time. Even starting to pull the knees kind of down towards the ground a little bit. Another breath or 2 more here. And go ahead and hug the knees back in towards the chest. Rock yourself up to a seated position and into a cross-legged position at that. So finding a seat, you might sit on a block or a pillow for just a moment. Once you're there, raise the arms up towards the ceiling, reach up, and twisting to your right. So left hand catches the thigh, right hand wraps behind the lower back. Just a little lift through the lower back here for maybe just 2 more breaths. And keep your left hand on your thigh. Raise the right hand up towards the ceiling and take it into a side bend. Just 2 big breaths here. Inhale, raise both arms up. Exhale, twist the opposite direction, half bind again, catching the thigh, turning back your left shoulder here. Keep the lower back somewhat elevated. Another breath or 2 here. And same thing, left hand raises up into a side bend, reaching over. Inhale back up through to center and then rolling over the knees, coming onto tabletop position, all fours, and starting to get into cat-cow there. So once you've landed on hands and knees, take an inhale to press the belly down, puff the chest forward, look up, and exhale to raise and arch up through the spine. Go ahead and just do that a few more times, dipping the belly down, Concentrate on how your tailbone and your pelvis is moving, tilting it up as you dip the belly down, arching through the spine, and tilting. Keep on going. 1 or 2 more rounds, nice fluid movement between the dip to the arch. And from here, a little bit tricky, go ahead and lift your left knee and cross it behind the right leg. Now, in this kind of cross-legged position, start to send your left leg back. It kind of ends up being something like pigeon, but not quite. Don't drop your right hip to the floor. Keep the knee kind of pointing forward and just shift a little bit of body weight left to right. You can send some more weight back a little bit. Just sort of just play with this position here. And anything that feels kind of good with it. So you might turn the chest a little bit, get some more leverage, forward and back a few times. Just a breath or 2 more here. And then back to tabletop position, all fours, hands and knees. Lift your right knee, cross it over the back of the left one, and then send the leg back. Somewhat of a pigeony shape. Again, play with it, explore the shape. Notice any differences left to right side of the body, just so we're informing ourselves of where we need to take care of the body, where we need to nourish it. Take a breath or 2 more here. And then back into tabletop position, all fours, coming up into downward facing dog. So tuck the toes, lift up the hips. Make a little bit of movement in down dog, pedaling the legs out, bending through one knee and then the other. Just a breath or 2 more there in down dog. And then start to walk your hands towards the back of your mat into a forward fold. So from down dog, walk the hands back, folding in, letting the upper back really soften here, so the shoulders and the neck relaxes, big bend in the knees, and just swaying a little bit of body weight side to side a few times, forward and back maybe. Take just 2 more big breaths here. And then walking the hands out to plank position, shoulders above your wrists. Drop your knees and lower all the way down until you're flat onto the floor. Just take a few rounds activating some back muscles here. So take the hands off the side of the mat, come up onto fingertips so you're not relying on your hands so much. Point the toes and inhale, lift the chest, cobra. Exhale, lower back down. You carry on and do a few more of these, but as you're moving, again, try and not use the hands quite so much. So as you lower down especially, there's a bit more control there. Even sort of just lightly hovering the hands might encourage that back body strength. Take 2 or 3 more. Don't strain it. You don't need to go too high. I'd say it comes on pretty quick. Let's take maybe 1 or 2 more rounds now, lifting and lowering. Feeling the lower back do some work. Naturally, you're squeezing the butt a little bit here. And next time the chest comes down, head back through tabletop or even sinking the hips into child's pose for a moment. And then coming up into downward facing dog, tucking the toes, lifting up the hips. Walking the feet towards the top of the mat now, into a forward fold once again. Letting the knees really bend. So this bend in the knees takes some pressure off the back of the legs and therefore the lower back too. We'll just take a couple more breaths. Swing a little body weight side to side. And then an even deeper bend in the knees to really slowly roll up the spine. Tilting the tailbone down as you roll up. Nice and rounded, taking a few breaths to come on up. Head lifts, arms lift, reach up. Little back bend at the top. And then again, bending the knees as you fold back down, taking a couple of breaths together. So it's quite slow, it's quite methodic. And then a little lift of the chest, just stepping the left foot back, dropping the knee down to the ground, and lifting the chest. Just hands onto the front knee here. Squeeze your left butt cheek quite tight. Suck your belly in. And keeping that tension in the belly, sink the hips a little. And then one of two choices. Either bring your hands to the lower back, fingers point down, and really squeeze the shoulders back. But again, can't stress it enough, suck the belly. Or alternatively, interlacing the hands behind the lower back. And same thing. Draw the shoulders back, lift the chest, keep squeezing the butt. We'll take just 2 more big breaths here. And then gently releasing the hands to the floor, straightening through your front leg and send your butt all the way back to your left heel at the back of the mat. Now you might turn the left foot in so you can sit on the foot. If you've got a pillow, you might want to sit on that. A block might suffice, but if you can work with the foot, do that. Fold forward as you're ready. Keep the front foot lifted. So for some of us, it might just be a very mild fold. And again, always with matters of the hamstring, the back of the leg, keep a bend in the knee if it's a pretty tender position. You're still going to get all the benefits of the stretchiness. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, relax the neck. We'll take 2 to 3 more deep breaths here. And then walking the hands forward into low lunge again, bending the front knee, arms raised up. Hands come into prayer and then finding a twist. So as you turn to your right, hook the left elbow around the knee. We're not here for terribly long, so roll back the right shoulder and just take 2 to 3 more breaths. Bring the hands down to the floor inside your right foot. Lift the back knee up off the ground and turn to the left side of your mat. So 2 straight legs, coming up into a bit of a standing position. Halfway lift to lengthen out your spine. You just have to bend into each knee, moving a little bit of body weight, left to right, side to side. Just sort of flossing the hips a little, getting a bit of movement into them. Want just a mild amount of heat through the hips. 1 or 2 more breaths here. Just a little tricky on the transition here. Go ahead and find Skandasana towards the back of the mat. So turning the left toes out, lifting the right foot and sitting somewhat towards your left heel. Now you might keep the hands on the ground. The heel might be super lifted. All of this is totally fine. We'll just take 1 or 2 more breaths here. And here's that trickiness. Take that left knee and place it down onto the floor. Right foot down to the floor, and then lift the hips, lift the arms, and come in towards gate pose. So you might want to shorten up your stance, but right hand to right knee or the thigh, left hand up and over. Now really squeeze your left butt cheek so the pelvis feels like it's pushing forward a little. Top shoulder rolls back. 2, maybe 3 more breaths here. Next inhale, lift up the chest, turn to the back of your mat, finding a plank position. So once you find the knee in between the hands, simply step the left foot back into plank, round through your upper back for just a moment, hold here for a moment so the shoulders are activated. 1 more big breath as you are. And then bend your left knee from here. Bend your left knee. Foot faces up towards the ceiling, so it's off the floor. And then roll this out into wild thing. So the left foot steps over the right leg. Left hand raises up, lifting the hips. 2 more big breaths here. And as you bring your left hand down, lower all the way down until you're flat onto the floor. You might have lost me facing the back of your mat. That's all right. Stay with it. Listen to my voice. Hands on the ground underneath your shoulders. Lift the chest all the way up into seal. It's a really big back bend. Switch off your glutes, your butt cheeks here. Relax the belly a little bit. Notice the sensations in the lower back. Breathe into the belly. If anything's jamming or feeling terribly uncomfortable, back it off a little bit. We'll just take a breath or two more here. And release the chest coming down towards the floor. Pushing back to tabletop position, all fours, hands and knees. Tucking the toes, lifting up the hips, and walking your feet towards your hands. So we are at the back of the mat. Once you're there, bend the knees deeply. Roll up the spine all the way through to standing. Again, taking a breath or two. Head lifts at the top, arms lift at the top. Reach up, squeeze your butt. And then folding straight back down. Again, a big bend in the knees. Really want that. And now the right foot steps back. Once you're there, drop the knee. Chest up. Hands onto the front knee initially. Squeeze your right butt cheek. Suck the belly in. I hope you can feel how when you create that tension, it brings a little bit more integrity into the posture, and you might feel an extra little stretch at the front of the right hip, the hip flexor. Now either hands to the lower back, keep the belly contained, or interlace the hands behind the lower back, roll back the shoulders, lift the chest. Again, the tendency, especially if you've got the bind, the tendency is that your chest is going to lift. It's going to feel nice to open up the shoulders, but try not to let your belly poke out with it. Belly in, chest up. There's a contrast there. Belly in, chest up. A breath or two more here now. And then very gently, hands to the floor, lowering your butt towards your right heel, sending your hips all the way down to your back foot, sitting on it. A little lift of the chest. And then any amount of fold, any amount of fold. So if this isn't the most comfortable position for you, I totally get it. You might bring a block or a pillow underneath your front knee to maintain a little bit of a bend in the leg. You can let the shoulders round a little, let the neck round a little. We'll stay here for at least 3 more breaths now. One more long breath here. Release anything you've got going on there, props or otherwise, and walk the hands towards your front foot, the left foot here, and coming back into low lunge. So raising up the arms, hands to prayer, heart center. Turn to your left now, placing the right elbow on top of the knee, and really pushing the left hand down into the right one to twist. 2 to 3 more steady, smooth breaths here, focusing on texture if you can, smoothness. Go ahead, release the hands to the floor. Lift the back knee, so it's 2 straight legs, or the back leg is lifted, and then we're turning the front foot in, so we're facing the right side of the mat now. Halfway lift to lengthen. Now, a couple of choices here. You can either fold and stay in the fold, or again, move a little body weight from side to side. If you're staying in the fold, feet slightly turn towards each other, bringing a little bit of body weight into the feet, into the toes rather. So shifting a bit of weight forward and relaxing the neck there. Any variation, catch the heels, interlace behind the lower back. Whatever's going to feel good here. We'll take just 2 to 3 more deep breaths. And then halfway lift if you're in the fold. bend into your right knee at the top of the mat, turning the foot out now and sitting the butt down into Skandasana. Hands can be on the floor. It's pretty deep shape. We'll take 2 more big breaths here, lifting the chest even if the hands are on the floor. And then spinning the left foot down to the floor. The toes come down, the right knee comes down. You might have to adjust the stance a little bit. Lift the chest, lift the arms. Generally speaking, your left foot is in line with your right knee running up the mat. Left hand to left knee, right hand up and over into the side bend. Again, squeeze your right butt cheek, your glute, and keep the top shoulder rolling back here. We'll take maybe just 3 more big breaths now. So it's a little tricky. Lift back up, turn back to the top of the mat, framing the right knee. So you're going to turn your shin, pivot, and then as you find plank, lift the knee, step it back. We want to stay here in plank for just a couple of breaths, activating through the shoulders, belly pulls in, squeeze your butt. And it's a full body tension posture, so feeling everything activate. We take just 1 more big breath here. Push the ground away, nice and firm through the shoulders. And drop the knees. Coming down. Back to plank. Pushing back up. And once you're in plank, holding here for a breath or 2, activating through the shoulders and lift the right foot, bend the knee, foot towards the ceiling. Roll this out into wild thing. Step the right foot behind the left knee. Raise the right hand. Lift the hips, lift the chest. Breath or 2 more there. And as you bring the right hand down to the floor, drop the knees and lower all the way down until you're flat. Arriving there, lift the chest all the way up into seal. Take 2, maybe 3 breaths. Relax the belly, let the pelvis feel heavy. 1 more breath now. And as the chest comes down, nice and slow, you might take a pause at the bottom and push back to tabletop or into child's pose itself. We'll just take a breath or 2 there. And then lifting the chest. We'll take the legs out in front of us for a forward fold. Now, if you've got a wall, I really suggest using it, and you might have to get off your mat and head over to the wall. If you do have a wall nearby that you can use, take your feet up onto the wall. I hope you can imagine that. Feet up against the wall so they're flat. And then wherever you're at, lift the chest. Fold forward nice and gently. And if you're not going to use a wall, all good. Paschimottanasana. This forward fold. Again, big bend in the knees. I really encourage that. And we might use a prop as well. Block or cushion. Get that bend. Lift the lower back. And we'll come into the fold for at least 10 more breaths here. So relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the neck. Really gentle kind of approach. You're not looking for maximum kind of stretchiness out of the back of the legs, the hamstrings, not looking for maximum sensation. Just the kind of loose forward fold is going to be enough here. Work with the breath. Let it soften over time. So utilizing the breath to penetrate the posture, making some kind of positive shift within it. 3 to 4 more breaths here now. One more deep breath. Chest lifts up, nice and slow. And then coming towards Gomukhasana or something similar to it. So You might want to let the lower back release a little bit there, dropping the knees from side to side a couple of times. But as soon as you're ready, take the left ankle, wrap it back towards the right hip, and then cross the other leg on top, the right leg on top. Try to stack up the knees as best as you can. Lift the chest and fold forward. I know this isn't going to be the nicest shape for everyone, so maybe figure 4, pressing the ankle on the knee will work. Any kind of other variation on it, so just a loose cross-legged position and folding forward like that. Anything that you can kind of manage with the foot around that vicinity. Now we're only here for a very, very short hold, so settle in and take just maybe 3 more breaths, that's all. Kind of just utilizing this shape to get to the next one. So 1 more breath here. Keep the shape of the legs, lift the chest. So whatever shape you've got going on, keep it. Bring your right hand down to the side of the mat. Raise the left hand up. You might drop down to the elbow into a nice big side bend here. Top arm could be wrapped behind the lower back. But really, that right leg is locking the left one down. So you can really leverage into the twist. We'll take 2 more big breaths here. And then lifting the chest back up. You might have to adjust the legs a little bit to point the bottom knee a bit more forward, so wrapping the bottom leg around you. Point the right knee up, and we'll come to a seated twist. So I reckon in this seated twist, bring the right hand behind the lower back and just hug your right knee or the shin. Hug it in nice and tight. So you're getting a bit of a kind of stretchy feeling into the right butt cheek, into the glute. Lift the lower back, but hug the thigh in towards your ribs. Sink the right butt cheek down and take just 2 more breaths here. And release. Coming back through to center, other way around. Left leg on top of the right, wrapping the ankle over the knee, chest lifts and fold forward. Obviously Gomukhasana is welcome. Work with whatever positions kind of effective for your hips here. Relax the jaw, relax the head. Invite some breath all the way down the spine to the tailbone. Two to 3 more breaths here in this one. And lifting up the chest. Go ahead and bring the left hand down to the side of the mat. Maybe you're dropping to the elbow. Right hand up and over. Nice big side bend. Couple of big breaths here. One more long breath. And again, lifting back up, unwrap the legs and go ahead and come down onto your back. Lying down. As soon as you come down, draw the knees in towards the chest. Keep the knees in. Shift your hips over to the right and drop the legs down to the left into a twist. Opening the right shoulder. Kind of work with any position here. You can hug the knees a little further in towards the chest. You could extend just your left leg down towards the top of the mat. Whichever it's going to be, really sink the right shoulder here, and we're only going to stay for maybe 5 more breaths or so. back through center. Same thing, other side. Knees in, hips a little over to the left, and then legs to the right. And again, left shoulder sinking down, relaxing through the belly space completely. One or two more breaths now. And as you're ready, coming back up through to center, hug the knees to the chest, and then either taking shavasana in supported bridge, just like where we started, so maybe a block or pillow underneath the hips, or alternatively, if you've had enough of that kind of feeling, the back bending feeling, go to the wall and send your legs up the wall. So laying flat on your back, you send your legs up the wall, and we'll come into some version of shavasana. Laying down, laying flat. Really try and prioritize a feeling of rest here. A feeling of letting the body be in complete relaxation. You've taken some time already to create a really beautiful internal environment where release, surrender, softness, they're all kind of naturally occurring attributes now. Encourage these feelings within the body. Softness, release, surrender. Just spend a little bit of time in silence and stillness with yourself. Let the body rest. I'll say namaste and sign off. Always a pleasure, always an honor. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.